you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Yesterday, we reported to you what some lawmakers said when they had a press conference, saying that they want Mr. Damagum, who is the acting national chairman of the PDP, to leave. If not, about 60 of them are ready to exit the People's Democratic Party. And one of those lawmakers was here on the program yesterday talking about what they will do, allegations against Mr. Damagum, the implication on the PDP and the future of the party. And of course, who is going to then now take over from Mr. Yocha Ayu, who has a lot of court cases on his hand. So let's talk about these and some of the issues relating to the state of the nation. Chief Sowunmi, former governorship aspirant in Ogun State and a chieftain of the PDP, joins me live here in our Abuja studio. Thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Nice to be here, Sean. How are you?
And when you watched yesterday and you saw those lawmakers asking that Mr. Damagum should step aside and are saying they threaten actually that they will leave, about 60 of them, what comes to your mind?
I was sad because I felt that there's no reason why a party in opposition, especially a party with a history that is as deep as over 25 years, should run into that kind of headwind. But it's indicative of how mismanaged the party has been for some time, and it's also indicative of the fact that the people in the party probably just think that party management is easy. But I hold the view that party management is not very easy. I hold the view that a party must constantly be reforming itself and looking at its issues rather than scapegoating. I hold the view that a political party, because of the nature of how people join parties, none is all good and none is all bad. I hold the view that if you see a trend in your party, every time there's a chairman, he has to go, then the next thing he has to go, then he has to go. You have to ask yourself, what is the culture and the attitude in-house that leads to this? But luckily, like you remember, taking the party to court, asking them to call a neck. Most people think that I was asking them to call a neck because I'm quarreling with the NWC of the party. No, far from that. I was asking them to call a neck because statutorily that is the second highest organ aside for our general convention. And I felt that since a lot of talk was going on around, people were having a lot of opinion, if the neck members, who are really much advanced and elderly people in the party, came together in the room and looked themselves in the eyes, they can then decide for themselves, okay, guys, enough. We have bickered enough. We have quarreled enough. We have blamed each other enough. Can we just take it easy now and determine what is the direction forward? And
what about your court case?
It's there. I have a feeling that it must have had some, influence on why they are calling the neck now, because obviously they didn't call the neck forever and ever, and nobody bothered about it. Everybody was just grumbling and quarreling and, saying a lot of things in-house and under the table, and I felt, no, enough. It's time to call the neck, for them to call the neck. And my hope is that when we get to the neck, or when they get to the neck, those statutory neck members, they can look at the whole issues holistically, and then they can take some far-reaching decisions. It's not an easy neck. I know it's not going to be an easy neck. I expect it to be a make or man neck. If they go in there and they, don't tell themselves the truth, they try to say one side is bad and one side is good, they'll get the result. If they go into the neck and pretend as if issues can be swept under the table, they'll get the result. But if they go to the neck and tell themselves that based on what's going on in the country, based on their responsibility as the leading opposition party, and the fact that whatever we say, every election, we start running towards the next election, they will take some far-reaching decisions, which I think will be in the interest of everybody. But whatever decision they take, we'll live with it.
You heard the allegations against Mr. Damagum, which, of course, Honorable Ikenga Gochinyere stated a lot of it yesterday. Allegations of the fact that he's colluding, he's in bed with the ruling APC. What do you make of those kind of weighty allegations?
I'm someone who likes to I speak and I talk very forcefully, but I try not to get into libel. And once you can't provide evidence and you libel someone and substantially deform the person, that's a problem. I like people to come to the table with the evidence. I like people to speak cautiously that we suspect. I don't like people who say, I'm so sure, because when it then comes to a libel situation where they're telling you, hello, come and prove that which you said, you've deformed my character, you may not exactly be able to say that. And I know where this tendency is coming from. It's coming from an unusual situation in the politics of our country, which has never happened before, which is the Sowunmi challenge of the politics of Nigeria and the politics of the PDP. What's that challenge? Typically, when somebody is out of the party, they're fully out. And when they're in the party, they're fully in. For the first time in the history of our politics, forget about what they say about the era of the former Attorney General of the Federation, Bola Ige. We have someone who is very, very influential in our party, who is playing very big roles in another party, who is saying this is their position even for the future, given the history of the past, and who people say still has some, influences here and there. And because people are unable to know how to deal with that situation, everybody's just hanging everything on one person, and anything that resembles anything close to that guy gets them to get free nerves. I think that ideally a political party of our stature should have better capacity to manage issues. You can't have a wicked problem before the presidential primaries. Still remain on a wicked problem during the primaries. Remain on a wicked problem when you have the vice presidential select. Remain on a wicked problem when you were going campaign. Be on a wicked problem almost 1 year after inauguration. You can't be serious.
Is wicked the problem of your party?
No. I think that the party itself and the handlers of the party and the members of the NWC and some of the stakeholders are the collective problem of the party. Because ask yourself one question. Do political parties not have rules? Do they not have regulations? Do they not have what constitutes a breaking of their rules? Do they not have protocols that says, once this happens, this is the result? But when you start to kind of like invent your opinion as you go along, you're going to have the kind of challenge we have. So I think no man can be in two parties at the same time, and no man can serve two masters at the same time. Within that context, I get the anger. But how do we solve the problem? I think that the NEC will give them an opportunity to hypocritically look themselves in the face and blame somebody else and not themselves. But I think that before they get into the NEC, they should all blame themselves. When then they get into the NEC, then they should then appease themselves and come up with a middle ground. Politics is not about the exclusion of people. Politics is about the inclusion of everybody and the managing of everybody within the house. You can look at our rivals. Look at Edo, for instance, our rivals. Our rivals in Edo, they did the primaries. Some guy came up who alleged a shameless person. They canceled it. They did another one. The other guy came up. And within a minute or two, they reconciled. They brought the other guys, deputy governor. They're moving forward. What are we doing? We seem to enjoy bickering more than strategic planning for an election. And I think that, I'm running for chairman, right? When I become chairman, I'll try to set them right and prevent them from being...
How can you become a chairman, Mr. Sowunmi, when it is not the turn? Because the plan is to replace, to substitute Senator Yocha Ayu. And there are those who believe that must happen from the North Central. Microzone needs to, in fact, is a senatorial zone.
No, we know what the constitution of the party is, yes. That there's an expectation that once one person loses a seat, maybe he dies or something happens, that zone, it's not microzone in the constitution, that zone replaces him. The question you will then ask is, if Ayu is still in court, fighting to get his mandate back, what are you really replacing? Then the second question you will ask is that, is a political party going to pretend as if all is well when all is not well? Why don't they just take the bull by the horn, give themselves some time, run a new convention, rejig the whole thing, and give us an NWC that can charge for at least 2 years before we get to primaries? If they assume that, okay, what they would rather have is look for anybody that they can find to come and replace Yoshia, let us pray that they're able to manage the legal consequence of that. But I think that that's not the right way to go. It's the same reason why our rivals were able to look themselves in the eyes and pick a Muslim ticket. Because science told them that if they try to do it any other way, they're going to lose. We can't be sticking to dogmas when our intention is...
So if you want to run for the national chairman of the PDP,
yes,
that means you will distort the whole arrangement.
No. What if I'm going to run for the national chairman of the PDP? That means I'm saying that we should rejig the entire ESCO.
When the tenure is not over, there is a scheme.
Well, one of the big things about the NEC, why it's different from every other organ, is that the NEC has enormous power by our constitution. The NEC of our party can say, okay, all things considered, we want to have a convention in 3 months' time, or whatever they decide. And if it is obviously their decision that, okay, they want to pretend that we have a good publicity, pretend that we have a good youth leader, pretend that we have all the other organs right, and it's only one man that is wrong, we'll all live with the consequences. I'm happy to see them go through that.
You wonder, where are the fathers, the founding fathers of the PDP? Where are they? Are they looking at the PDP that the party is in a mess right now?
If you see me push so hard, I'm pushing so hard because I feel that a 25-year-old institution is supposed to be one of the legacy that one of the most populous black nations will tell the world that we can also run this thing. I'm disappointed that all the founding fathers, the Jonathans of this world, the Obasanjos of this world, and co and co and co. I'm disappointed that they're looking at the platform that gave them the opportunity to lead. I'm disappointed that they're looking at bleed, and they're not doing anything. And if they will be tired and they cannot do anything, then it behoves those of us that are very futuristic about the country, about the party, about democracy, understanding that beyond winning elections, a political party in opposition has another duty. Its duty is to put the feet of the ruling party to the fire, come up with alternative policies, give them a different way of doing things, and try to tell the world that there is hope here. Every election is a referendum in two ways.
There's a feeling that your party is a failure as an opposition.
I must accept that it's not done as well as we would have loved it to do. But the thing is that the tail of the dog can't wag the dog. That's part of the reason why we're saying get them all out and let's get to
your party is a failure.
No, it's not a failure. Listen, I'm saying the tail cannot wag the dog. A lot of our members are doing everything they can on social media, but there is that gravitas that the leadership of the party...
We're not talking about membership doing it. We're talking about a platform. As a political party...
Sure, you're not listening.
You are talking about your members. You're talking about tail wagging the dog.
Yeah.
I'm saying, as a collective, as an institution, as a political party, a leading opposition in the country, has your party not failed in its role at putting the feet of the ruling party in the fire?
Shehu, I like the fact that people in Nigeria think that the only way to do opposition work is Gestapo and call people out and overturn the country, and that's not how to do opposition work. Within the context of offering alternative policies and alternative opinion and criticizing them, we are doing the much. More can be done, but don't get used to the fact that what you call opposition politics is the nonsense that they were doing when they were in opposition. They wanted to remove subsidy when it could have been done easily. They said no, they filled the streets. What are you going to get in that? And now so that's not opposition. That's what I'm telling you. People think that the era of everybody just, no, we're not going to agree. That's not opposition. Opposition is strategically thinking about the problem together with the ruling party.
Is your party doing that, Sheikh?
Absolutely.
That's the question.
Let me give you one. We just asked them a couple of days ago to come and explain to us why, of all the things we need to be doing in the country.
That's Atiku Abubakar.
That's right. That's leader of opposition.
No, that's an individual.
No, that's leader of opposition. You have to understand, he's the last candidate of the party. He's the leader of opposition. And he has said in very clear terms, Mr. President, come and explain to us why you're spending so much money to do 4-point-something kilometers of road from the Lekki corridor, and why are you giving it to your friend? So these are the kinds of things that opposition does. But opposition doesn't... Look, can you imagine this country where we are now? If we were to move everybody into the street and we started saying we're not going to... Do you know how volatile things are? We're more responsible than them. That's why we're not doing it that way. We're only saying that we can stylize it more. We can be more engaging. There's room for improvement. The Nigerians themselves, they have to ask themselves one question. Are they happy?
I love your tactical deflection. You do not want to accept failure as a political party.
I don't understand what you mean by failure.
No.
Look,
Mr. Sowunmi, let me lecture you for a moment.
Okay.
There are 4 legs in any democracy.
What are the 4 legs?
There is the government and the ruling party. Well, it's the party in power.
Yeah.
And there is the opposition.
Yes.
There is the civil society.
Yes.
And there is the media.
Yes.
Would you say, in your own mind,
yes,
Mr. Sowunmi,
yes,
and if you be truthful to Nigerians tonight,
yes,
that there is an opposition in Nigeria as a political party? And I'm not talking about Mr. Atiku Abubakar sending out statement.
Look, you're missing the point again. You may not like the style of the statement, but I'm sure that you get a lot of statements. I'm sure that you get a lot of statements.
You're actually also deflecting. No, I'm not saying that Mr. Atiku Abubakar,
no, I'm saying about Atiku,
as a political party.
You're not listening.
Are you happy with what you are saying?
You're not listening. Are you going to tell me that you've never gotten press releases from the National Public Secretary, Debo Lugwagba, all the time? I'm saying to you that there's a different type of opposition.
So that's the best out of opposition.
That's not the best. Obviously, we can do... that's why I said the tail can wag the dog. We can do better than that, but don't...
You don't want to accept that there is some failings in the opposition.
Don't you dare expect that the only thing that you guys call opposition is imploding the democracy.
As much as we are saying that the government must do more,
Yes.
And we are also in Senate. You in the opposition must do your job.
Okay, maybe those of them with the responsibility. Yeah. I can accept that they need to scale up. If I didn't think they need to scale up, if it's not broken, why are we trying to fix it? I can accept that, but I'm just saying to you that get used to the fact that opposition doesn't necessarily mean emptying the citizens into the street. The system is too volatile.
Let me get your view on what the ongoing. There seems to be some kind of respite in the economy in the past few days that we have seen. Yeah, some respite. It was less volatile considering the monitoring of things. The indices are there and shows, especially if you look at the parity between the dollar and the naira, things are seem to have simmered. Go to the street of Wuse.
Sure. Can I just
a moment? I want to get your view on the state of the nation under the Tinubu government as an opposition voice. How would you describe things?
Listen, I wrote him a piece for his birthday. Then on the second thought, I thought, don't let me just disturb him so much. And the long and short of what I was saying in that piece was that, look, Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you must understand that whatever it is that is wrong with our country now are mostly things that you caused. One of them being that you were the one that didn't think about the mass of our people and the poor people in the country when you ran into removing subsidy the way you did. And now we see that all you are ever willing to do is pound more pressure on the poor because you assume they are going to be helpless. If you tell me the dollar is coming down, I'll tell you that what does that really translate to when the price of food is still very high? By his own admittance, inflation is so high, he's just lackadaisically telling people he'll fix it when he can't he has not really fixed it. We have not seen anything in the country is even more divided than it's ever been united. If you ask me who caused that, all down to him and his policies and how he's running his chronism of Lagos agenda, and people are even blaming the entire Yoruba nation as if there's some kind of Yorubanization. Please, Nigerians, on behalf of everybody else in the Southwest, the only agenda that Ashad Bola Ahmed Tinubu, president, is running is his Lagos agenda of his cronies. Take all the other Yoruba states out of it. He's doing it according to himself and his boys, and please do not begin to hate us for policies that obviously shows that he's only winning a government of himself, for himself, his family, and his allies. That's that. But in terms of whether the economy is doing well, don't deceive yourself, it's not. Before you can say the economy is doing well, you are going to have to see it in the real sector. How much are people paying for housing? How much are they paying for food? How much are they paying for accommodation? How much are they paying for transport? He has removed subsidy from day one. It's almost 11 months. And these geezers have not even figured out how to increase salaries of civil servants. Do you know the singular impact of just increasing their salary so that they have a little bit more money that they can use to impact the economy? Look, I know that the media, you guys in the media are their friends, and that sometimes you try to balance things and just give them the benefit of the doubt. But let's be honest. Nobody in the country.
Your presupposition.
Yeah, I know.
Your presupposition is
it's good.
Yeah. No, it's very wrong.
It's good.
Yeah,
you guys are their friends.
You have your views.
Yeah, you have your stuff.
Yeah, you have your views.
Sheung, you have your views.
We put their feet in the fire.
No. Listen, Sheung.
But we have a nation also who will remember. So as much as we're putting their feet in the fire.
Sheung, I get that you need to do that, but you need to hear me out.
I'm hearing you, but when you're saying the wrong thing, I will correct you.
I'm telling you, there's no wrong thing here. You are not connecting with the poor of the poor people in our country. We do every day. And when you connect with them, you're going to know that the people are laboring. And the thing that even upsets me the most about the Bola Tinubu administration is that the president, you know, there's a way a leader talks with empathy. But you know how he talks? It does like deal with it. Or, he doesn't have any empathy. His aides and people who speak on his behalf, they speak over our head. Can you imagine some geezer telling us we start offering, we should put it on our fridges and freezers?
Can you stop calling people geezer on national television, please? That's wrong.
Do you know what the
family television?
Do you know what a geezer is?
Geezer? Is a geezer?
Geezer,
okay.
Geezer is a slang for gentleman.
Yeah, I thought you said geezer.
No, I can't.
And you've used it too.
I said geezer. It's a slang for a gentleman.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me just say, the gentleman came on TV and said, Nigerians should start putting on their freezers. It got that bad. You know, don't you think that everything that this Bola Tinubu administration does is just sleep for a while, wake up in the morning, say, okay, what else can we do to make life miserable for Nigerians? Boom. Next day, what can we do? Boom. Taxes. Next day, what can we do? Boom. Increase tariff for petrol. Next day, what can we do? Electricity. Next day, what can we do? They have to come and find new money to get a new national identity card. Okay, when the people are angry and say that, throw them some crumbs and say you're doing palliative. Sheung, We have been in this country for a while. It's never been this way.
So you don't rate this government at all?
You know, I think that because we are members of the Southern Belt and our capacity in the media and all that is big, therefore we are pretending that what we would not tolerate in other people, we're going to be, you know, shadow pampering it and powdering it. The reality on ground is that things are really bad. The reality on ground is that bar two or three in his cabinet, all the others are bloody failures. I think that he needs to look at that cabinet. It's almost coming to 1 year. I think that we can't normalize a nation where everybody is cowed to the extent that people can't even hold views. Even governors on our own stable are cowing to him. Look at the mess going on in Rivers. What kind of president would even allow that from his minister? You will expect that a president who is really a Democrat, who doesn't pretend to be a Democrat, will look at what's going on in Rivers and say that, okay, why is the governor in Rivers having problem? And says, why is my minister the one that is fingered in this problem? How much more do I need to say, no, listen, enough. Let the guy breathe. These are the kinds of things you expect leaders to do. Right. But not them, not them. They are only interested in the next election. They are not interested in how the people fare. If they don't know how many people have died because of their careless policy and their draconian policy and their wicked policy, they have no idea. You know why? Because they feed fat on the misery of the people.
Sowunmi is the chieftain of the People's Democratic Party, who was a governorship aspirant in Ogun State. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Totally my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much indeed. Giza, are you? You're one, right?
I am.